Hello viewers, Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. Hello to you wherever you are in the world when you're watching this. Thank you for supporting this channel. I promised a reading on Russia and I will be doing that this morning. It's Saturday morning here in Australia and it is the 21st of November here. So the moon is in Aquarius, which is where I feel very comfortable with that placement. Sun is sextiling Saturn. The moon is squaring Mercury. Of course, we've got to work harder to get to the truth. We're able to see also the shadow side. It's illuminating that shadow side for us so that we can see clearly and make the appropriate decisions. The moon is sextiling Mars, which again is a harmonious aspect. One that gives us an opportunity to act upon the truth that we see maybe lurking in the shadows. And we have Venus again squaring or still squaring Saturn, letting us know or keeping us honest. It's around what is good for the self. It is what is good for the highest good for the most. And these are the lessons, of course, that we are learning as well. So when you put that together, you see these examples right across the world in the astrology of the moment now. All right, so let's have a look at Russia. I'm using my Centennial edition of the Rider-Waite deck, and I may clarify with the Lenormand. We'll see. I do have other decks that I may pull on as well. I do want to just do a couple of energy cards. I should have had these prepared before I came on, but there's so much to do when I open up for a reading. I go through a chakra balancing and clearing. I go through a type of meditation so that I lift my vibration high. I call on angels, spirit guides, clear the energy around me. I ask for guidance and to bring forward the information that is in your highest good. And I thank. I thank my ancestors, my passed over loved ones, those that have loved, that I have loved, that have loved me, and those that I have lost that are in the spirit world. Okay, let's have a look at the energies of the moment. I'm using my Mystical Shaman Oracle for this part of the reading. Let me tune in to the energies of this in Australia, bright, sunny, beautiful Saturday morning with the breeze coming through my opened balcony door behind those curtains. What are the energies for this moment for my viewers who are watching this in other parts of the world, wherever they may be? Something's slid out. We've got the Earth Keeper, number 18. Okay, the Earth Keeper, reminding us to not to disconnect or lose touch with the earth around us because it has so much to offer, but also reminding us that we are the guardians of this earth that we call home, and understanding also that the earth, Gaia, is present in the cycles of this time. Even though we are looking at this perhaps externally from her, her energy is here and it's very, very strong. The Earth Keeper, 18 adding up to 9. The Ghost Dance, isn't that interesting? This is the conduit between this world and the next. We're all keepers of that flame. When we remember our loved ones, when we pay homage to their wisdom, when we seek the help from our ancestors, when we seek to heal those ancestral wounds, when we seek also to learn the lessons of our lifetimes. the ghost dance 22. This is all about the connection between us and our love passed over loved ones, the afterlife. And it comes always, always through love and always from the heart of the sky. So this is telling me that there is connection that we can have, that we can all have, when we lift our vibrations and put ourselves into that space where we are connecting between the earthly realm and the upper realms. At the base of the pack, we have lightning, illumination, light, and we have the upper world. So I'm hearing that we can all do this. We can all be that conduit, perhaps more than what you know and what you actually do recognize within yourself. So today, one of the ways that we can do this, or sometime over this weekend, go out in nature, put your feet on the ground, sit quietly in nature and open yourself up to the earth. And feel what is actually around you, what you're sitting in. This is all about becoming conscious. All right, let's move on. They were nice energies to sit in. Let's move to the external world. And of course, it is not divorce. Those cards show me it is not divorce from the politics, what we would call politics, world strategic events, maneuvers, aggression even. We are all earth keepers. All right, so let's move to Russia. What is the real state of COVID in Russia? I saw some footage that I'm sure the Russian government didn't want people to see, and people were virtually dying in corridors. Now, they had come up with a vaccine recently. Clearly, that is not being given to those that are passing in these corridors. Dead bodies, unfortunately, piling up, being taken away. We've all seen the scenes, haven't we? I have a feeling that it is far worse, and the economy is far worse than we are being led on. Yet, still, the Russian president puts money into staying ahead of certain races, and I feel that there is something around space, something around putting structures just above the earth. That's what I'm feeling is where the scientists are going at the moment in Russia. Let's have a look. I saw that image clearly before I started this reading. What is the true state of the pandemic in Russia? Yeah, there's a lot of death. This is the sorrow card. It is a card when someone passes over. There is a bridge behind. We have the river here, signifying that passage from one realm to another, and of course the sorrow that is left behind when we lose people. So that's a very significant card. They are challenged by, even though we think Russian technology, the modern Russia that we see, even though we think that they are ahead in that way, there are many parts of Russia that haven't progressed. And there is not the government resources nor the finances to get to these areas. These are the villages where children are even dying. Families are passing. They are challenged by their own karmic lesson, which is not to be an adversary, not to seek to plot the KGB days. They're challenged by their past, their own past. And so that tells me, even though this is a COVID reading, that eventually there will be evolution in Russia, which is what I've always seen. The Nine of Pentacles, the oligarchs. The wealth in the hands of too few and not being spent for the people, by the people, but the wealth concentrated in the hands of too few. And that again is another challenge for Russia. In the past, they have done it hard. They're carrying this load as a result of the inequality, base inequality in Russia. And I'm hearing you can fool some of the people some of the time, but not all of the people all of the time. In the sky, we have a manipulation. Of course there's a manipulation. But there's also leadership trying to juggle finances, trying to juggle the economy, waiting for ships to come in that may not necessarily come in. All travel, trade, oil, all of that as a result of the pandemic are hitting Russia, hitting Russian economy and hitting it hard. So we have people transitioning in the immediate future. We also have a moving on. Now, one of the questions that I'm going to ask today is, does Vladimir Putin have Parkinson's? You know, this was a story that was circulating on social media. You can take a guess that what are the genesis of these stories? They generally come from Russia. My readings in the past have shown that Q, we'll just call it Q, originated in Russia. But we have this sixth energy, this healing, this moving on, moving out of troubled waters. We'll see what all that's about. In the here and now, I feel that I'm getting a real draw to families, but I'm also getting a draw to the American election as well. In some way, the change that will come in America will be good for the Russian people, not the oligarchs, the Russian people. Page of Pentacles. Yeah, there are new starts. This is definitely American election. There are new starts, but the economy also in downturn. Yeah. There is, we talked about COVID, there is a need to help Russians in the villages, Russians that don't have the finances. This is economic downturn and this is illness. This is a pandemic creating havoc. And leadership that for too long has taken the money or the spoils for themselves and not distributed wealth evenly. The outcome position, we have the Four of Wands. There will be a movement back to the people, one way or another. And we have groups meeting in secret. What are they meeting in secret about? Groups coming together to accomplish something. And the Queen of Cups, secrets being kept. But also the need to nurture and support. But it's sitting right next to that Three of Pentacles, which is in this deck, can sometimes mean dark money. So I feel that in the future, we will see or hear that not enough financial resources have been given to the people, which is impacting on their ability to manage through this pandemic. We do have the truth coming out about the Emperor. We have the Two of Cups and the Queen of Wands. So again, there is inspiration at the ground level for the truth to emerge. Who would know what the truth was in Russia? It's so often distorted and buried. All right, let's see about, so the resources aren't getting to the people, and that's why they're suffering from this pandemic. The resources aren't being used in the way that they should be to manage this pandemic. And there is economic downturn that the leaders are trying to manage. They're walking a very, very precarious tightrope during this pandemic. The Russian economy is not comparable to the US economy, and so a widespread pandemic in their country is going to hit them. A worldwide pandemic is hitting them hard. All right, let's have a look at support for Vladimir Putin. Show me Vladimir Putin. Ooh, okay. So I immediately got an image of him wounded in battle, that Four of Swords energy. People coming together, maybe plotting behind his back. He's not infallible. No leader is infallible. No dictator is infallible. How do the people perceive Vladimir Putin? As the emperor? As the person on the throne, so to speak? A king that is not a king? A dictator? All right, how do the people view Vladimir Putin? They're tired. They're weary. They've gone into battle for Russia, but the resources are not reaching the people. They're weary. They are challenged by, this is money coming to them for what they do. Wages, fair wages, their fair share of the pie. Working for a state that isn't supporting them. Okay, we have the Star card as the foundation of the reading. A healing. This is again a healing card, number 17, adding up to 8. Let's keep going. There's hope for Russia. There's hope for the people. There's hope for equality in Russia. Yet. We have the Hermit card. This is the pandemic signature showing up. This shutdown, things being shut down. Yeah. Okay, so in the sky, we have Putin and the oligarchs making off with more than their fair share. And we have lies and deceit here. So there's a deception here that is really, I guess, covering Putin's reign. Because it is a reign. A dictator is taking control. He is the emperor. That's what I saw. But he is governing through deception. Now the Page of Cups, I don't read reversals, but it's come out reversed. So I asked, how do they feel about him? I feel support is waning because of the conditions. This pandemic is highlighting a lot of truth for us. His fortunes are tied to Trump's fortune. There are those that do love Putin. But there are those who see the truth. This King of Swords is holding the truth. So there is some truth that will emerge regarding Putin in the future. Could even also tie in Sideshow Don. Putin fears a movement, a people's movement, and that's why he keeps poisoning the opposition leaders to try and stamp out that movement. But it's also in the hope position as well. All right, let's keep going and see what the outcome is. Obstacles and challenges he will face as a result of how the COVID was managed and as a result of economic downturn and poverty at the, in those parts of Russia that aren't getting their share of the resources, the wealth that have been left behind. He will face a resistance and a movement in the future. Okay, let's have a look at the next outcome. Yeah, he will be checked, and there is moderation, very much healing in the future for Russia. Once Putin's gone, there is healing there. And we have the Knight of Pentacles. So this is all around the economy. So just as leaders have been judged for the handling of the pandemic and the economic downturns, just as they've been judged by the people elsewhere, so is Putin currently being judged. But there is this deception that they seem to be able to, or will in the future, be able to penetrate. All right, let's see if he's still interfering in American politics. Russian interference in the elections. Now, voting machines have been certified. Voting machines have been certified as being accurate. According to something I read this morning. I haven't got a link for that, so do your own research. Dominion voting machines. All right, let's have a look at is Putin still interfering, advising Trump? Is Trump talking to Putin? What's going on between Russia and Sideshow Don? You know who I mean. I really don't want to use his name anymore. Is Putin and his acolytes, his enablers, his men, those around him, his women, is Putin and co, is Russia talking to Trump now? Trump, I said it again, Sideshow Don. Okay, so we've got the Hanged Man. So something has come to a stop. Something has been suspended. What has been suspended? This could be about the election. But this, I think also, I'm picking up that he may be, or Russia may be talking to Trump about what is going on now in terms of suspending the results of the election. But I also feel strongly because, we know that Biden is going to be legally inaugurated. We know this is just a show, a last-ditch desperate attempt by Sideshow. I tend to not go down to the minutiae of that failed coup attempt because I don't want to sit in that energy. I prefer to just stay at the higher level knowing that Biden will be inaugurated and this is just a sham. Sideshow is just perpetrating a sham that possibly could have legal consequences for him and others around him. This is showing me that once Trump is no longer there, Putin's power is neutralized, stopped. We have the truth likely to emerge about Trump's dealings with Russia. Trump, I keep saying his name, Sideshow Don's dealings with Russia. Now, remember former deputy director of the FBI who was sacked by Trump, Andrew McCabe, said if Trump wants to declassify intelligence, he will be declassifying intelligence that is even worse for him around his connections with Russia than the Mueller report portrayed. We are likely to hear more about this relationship. In the past, we have the win by Biden, the change. So we have two aces in this reading so far. What is happening in the US is going to hit Putin very hard. Okay, so in the sky, what's crowning this is my card for the Trump Organization. Funny that, isn't it? That's where we come out in the Trump-Russia relationship. I do feel this is the money laundering. Whatever happens in the future with Trump, he cannot be pardoned for state crimes. I've said that now for 2 or 3 years. I keep repeating that. And New York is now widening its investigation, and we'll read on that a bit later on, which will draw in Ivanka Trump. So that's what we have in the first part of the reading. So we do have the relationship, the contract, commitment there between the two. But we have truth as the foundation of the reading. They could be talking about money in some way. Okay, so there could have been some kind of contract between the two. But we will hear about that. Okay, the shadow foreign policy. All right, so what we're seeing here is Trump doing, again, in the final stages, again Trump, Sideshow Don, in the final stages of his term, seeking to throw the advantage to Putin. And I asked about communication. Now, in the environment around, we have Biden, my card for Biden. I asked, were they talking about what's going on now? I do feel they are. I do feel they are. And this is what I think it is. I think it is taking actions in the final stages of this presidency which make it difficult for Biden's foreign policy. This is what I feel they're talking about or communicating about. And this was this was set up before. So Trump, Sideshow, knows he's lost the election. So in the hopes and fears, Putin knows it too. And this is the deaths from COVID in his own country. He fears that. He fears the loss of his power through the downturn in the economy. He is going to walk away from Trump in the future. He is going to throw him to the wolves. We've seen him do that when he came out before the election and said that Hunter Biden did not do anything wrong. We saw what he's capable of. He's going to leave this president. He is walking a tightrope, in terms of the economy. He's going to move on, I feel. Yeah. He has more pressing problems at home trying to hold on to his own power than he does in interfering in what is clearly a win for Biden now. All right, giving and receiving help and the spy in the camp. At the base of the pack, do we realise? I mean, that's nothing new, is it? We already know that. So I feel that there is a payoff for Putin and for Trump, and we will get to the truth of it in the future. All right, let's have a look at... Now, I don't think they're going to continue with a new president to be able to destabilise the US. I do feel that there is regulation coming for social media. I think it's an inevitability. And I think we should ask that, because that's the only way they can foment division. Will the Biden administration, oh, something's jumped out, High Priestess. Okay, so plans, something in the subconscious ready to come forward and be manifested. Clandestine operations. All right, so via social media. Will the Biden administration regulate social media? Put it on them to clean their acts up, get rid of fake accounts, hold them to account in terms of the truth? Will the Biden administration regulate, clamp down on, pull social media into line? I feel they have something in their sights. Yeah. Judgment card. Rendering judgment. Something coming to an inevitable close. There's no other way around it. It has to be done. It has to be done. Some way it has to be done. Because there is too much loss. These are the two signifier cards. Foundation of the reading is toxicity. So much toxicity there. I don't know how this will be attempted, but something will shift. It's already in the planning stages. I see, is it your Silicon Valley, something like that? They have that in their sights in some way. What's hanging over this is the Hermit card. There will be a review, I feel. A review, and from that recommendations will be made. It will be to the benefit of democracy, safety, because right now there has been an abuse of power. We know that. We know what Facebook, for example, did in 2016, what they continue to do. There is an abuse of power. They are allowing others to use their platforms to abuse power. The King of Pentacles, yeah, the Trump years has really shown social media and how Trump has gaslit. It's really shown it very clearly. And when the 5 comes up, this is all about change. In the hopes and fears celebrations, I don't think anyone would object to sensible regulations of social media. So we have heartbreak, loss, betrayal, and we have the Queen of Cups, nurturing, and the Page of Swords, the truth, illumination. This review, let me show you these cards. This review is going to produce a lot of evidence, really lift the lid on Russia and other foreign influences, not just in America, but in everywhere. Everywhere. A lot of loss. We will feel a lot of loss and toxicity. It's all about greed. Let's pull another card. Yeah. And there will be a plan, an inspired plan and a movement as a result of what is revealed about social media in the future. Yeah. They will be manifesting some kind of new way with social media in the future. And I'm not sure how that is going to work. But I'm sure whatever review or examination is done, I don't think it's going to be done quickly. I think that review will take quite a while to accomplish, because the Hermit is someone that has to move through the dark before they come to the light. But it is an inevitability with this Judgment card that this toxic atmosphere that they have to do something about the toxicity around social media platforms. You know, there could also be around the advertising content, regulating who is buying those ads, declaring who is, and then getting an idea of foreign influence from there. Okay. All right, let's just move to China before we finish up. China, a superpower. Will China be held in check? Will China be held in check? We have an interest here in Australia because China has threatened us, threatened our trade. We are in the region with China. Our government has just enacted a partnership with Japan to prevent any strategic moves by China into our territory or Japan's territory, any acts of aggression, subtle or otherwise. And China's not happy about that. China and American relationship is very strained from Sideshow Don's years. China has been aligning with Russia. What's China going to do now? What is China going to do now? The Ten of Pentacles, trade, commerce, big business around their corporations reach into the world, into other countries' economies. They are challenged because they are very much at the crossroads, which is what I felt when I shuffled these cards. There are strategic decisions for them to make. Trade is also going elsewhere. As a result of their aggression, they are it is hurting their bottom line, and they're having to review their relationships. They have been wounded in the past through the pandemic. Okay, in the sky, they're going to try, or they will attempt to deepen or court a relationship with America under a new administration. But there will be loss. Everyone assumes that the Biden administration will automatically capitulate with China. I don't think that's going to happen. There is now, again, this need with this King of Swords to come up with a new strategy and plan. And there's an urgency to it, I feel, with this Eight of Wands. The hopes and the fears, China's influence will be moderated. But we have the victory here. They want to be victorious. They want a new start. And they want a healing of fractured relationships. They are going to make a move toward a relationship with the Biden administration, a new relationship. Victory, the Emperor, control, the plan, the world. And how, through trying to get Chinese businesses, corporations interacting freely across the world, to do that, they have to rein in their aggression. So they're coming up with a strategy right now, and we'll see it unfolding fairly quickly. Okay. One more, will they align with Russia? We've always thought, there could be some kind of aggressive act. The fear has been that they align with other countries that may be sympathetic to their needs. Turkey, Russia. But I'm feeling they are turning something around. That old strategy is moving to something new. All right, so will they still align with Russia? Will they still align with Russia? Are they aligning with Russia? Show me what they are. What are they planning with Russia? 10 of Cups. I'm still getting a move toward America. And the Queen of Cups. They're going to be nurturing their relationship with America, I feel, in some way post-Trump. Yep. And this is around, it's always the same with the Chinese, isn't it? This is around their own financial interests. So we have the Queen of Wands at the base of the pack. We have their alignment with Russia in the past. In some way, this is Trump. But now looking to Biden. China may have, even though this is crazy, but China may have even aligned with Trump in some way in the past, even though we didn't know it. I just feel that there's a deception there in some way. A deception and aligning with Russia over this. That may be the subject of another reading. I don't have time now. This is a rather long reading, but Trump may not have the support, the total support of Putin. Putin playing all ends against the middle. China doing a bit of the same. That's for another reading. And Trump there in business, Trump business interests there. Okay, so maybe that's to come in the next month or two. Maybe we see some different sort of a move coming from Sideshow Don in relation to China in the coming months. We'll see. All right, thank you for tuning in.